Hey guys, FilthyRobot here, continuing our playthrough of EU4 with Arumba, where we've just lost 2 coalition wars in a row, Arumba.
we lost, but we didn't lose. Not really.
That has a striking familiarity with my current campaign, the one I just lost but didn't actually lose.
So how's your holiday?
It was really good, man. I was down in Florida very briefly to visit my folks, and that was quite enjoyable. I enjoyed the sun. It was like all 80-degree weather down there, which was contrast for 10 degrees, negative 10 degrees in some points in Chicago area. So that was beautiful. Yeah. How about yourself?
It was good. It's funny. Yesterday we went to this thing. I don't even know the actual proper name for it, but it's this like ice thing that you go to. It's got like all of the characters from Charlie Brown made out of ice, and it's like 9 degrees in there. So basically it's really effing cold, and we're all wearing like snowsuits and stuff, and I was thinking, this is what it used to be like in Michigan.
That's what I recorded.
I don't miss this at all. This is horrible, and I wanted to leave like right away.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It looked really cool, but god damn, was it cold, man.
Yeah,
so yeah.
It'd be even nicer if they had put those in a display case that you could see from the outside and kept their display case refrigerated.
Sure.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about the Swedish royal marriage? They keep asking us. They want to be friends.
Oh, that's one of the questions I have. So I guess we should mention, this is for us the big break in between when we last recorded and recording again in about 2 weeks because of the holidays and whatnot. So I've had some time in the meantime to record some solo campaigns and experience more of the game on my own to get some sense of the big gaping holes I still have in the knowledge base for that, and the stuff that I thought I understood and didn't understand, the stuff I only kind of partially understood. And royal marriage is one of them. Okay. I'm happy to talk about that a little bit if you want to spend a few minutes on that. We can unpause and do it slowly as time passes, or we can just do it with the game pause. I don't really mind.
Okay. Well, here I mean, the simple explanation is just do royal marriages with people you plan on being friends with for a long time.
Okay.
Don't do royal marriages with people that you plan on not being friends with.
Okay.
That's it.
What are the downsides of what happens if I make a royal marriage with someone that I want to attack later?
You either need to wait for, and again, we talked about this a couple times, depending on who sends the marriage offer, that determines when the royal marriage ends. So if we send it, when our ruler dies, the royal marriage ends.
Yep.
If they send it, it's when their ruler dies.
And this is why you recommended the entire time to let the older of the two people send the royal marriage.
Yeah, usually, just because I like to be able to have a more dynamic, more fluid type relationship.
Yep.
So what happens is, like, let's just say tomorrow, let's say we take the royal marriage and then tomorrow you decide you want to attack Sweden. Mm-hmm. Well, then you're going to have to break the royal marriage or suffer a -1 stability hit when you declare war on someone you have a royal marriage with.
Okay.
Unless you have diplomatic ideas. The finisher for the diplomatic idea group allows you to have 0 stability hit for breaking royal marriages.
That's interesting. That's a pretty cool one.
Yeah, but so yeah, that's one of the downsides to it. The positives, though, the slightly longer answer are that royal marriages are your route to getting your dynasty on their throne, which is kind of what we did with Bohemia, but haven't acted on. You'll notice again that Bohemia has a steward on the throne, which gives us an opportunity for a personal union, and it also gives us an ability to claim their throne.
Mm-hmm. Although that was blocked, so I didn't have to worry about that in the Korea one, I don't think, because I think it said something about the religion doesn't allow for royal or for that type of action. Is that correct?
Personal unions are a Catholic-only mechanic.
Gotcha.
So you have to be either Catholic, Protestant, Reformed, Orthodox, or Coptic.
Okay.
Those are the 5 different versions of Catholicism that can have personal unions.
Cool.
So in this case, this specific instance, do you want to stay friends with Sweden?
Okay, we don't really have. We had decided at one point to eradicate all of red off the map, which I think is wise. I don't know if that's... I mean, there's not a lot of red over by Sweden, though. Sweden is very blue. Therefore, perhaps as far away from red as we can get, and therefore an ally. I mean, that kind of logically makes sense to me.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
And I bet you if we ask them, they'll share maps with us.
They don't have any maps.
Yeah, see?
You'll know that they won't because they're in the same tech group that we are, and they don't have exploration ideas. Therefore, they couldn't have revealed anything themselves, which means that they're only getting maps shared to them by other nations in our tech group.
Okay. But
so we have the same maps that they do.
We have the same maps of all the people in our tech group.
Yes.
Okay.
So
yeah, so I'm for that. I guess I could do the little bit of work here and look. Let's see. He's age 47. Our ruler is age 40. He's older. We should accept from them.
Yep.
Okay. You accept it?
I did, yeah.
Okay. So still shows up there for me for some reason.
Yep.
Okay.
The pop-up doesn't go away, but when you click it, you notice how you didn't hear a sound effect?
I just dismissed it. So.
You probably don't even have sounds on, do you? You're just playing pure silence.
I
There's no
have
music.
sounds on?
There's no sounds.
That sounds on. I get my comment section is like, why don't you listen to the music? And I don't. I may try it, but I don't tend to like music.
The music's amazing in this game. It's written by a guy named Andreas Woldetoft, who I've not yet met in real life, but he has written almost all of the awesome music for pretty much every Paradox title.
Oh god.
And here's I know from experience from talking to you, one of the main reasons why you turn your music off is number one, you find it distracting. Number two, you're worried about copyright infringement.
Yeah.
And I can promise you, every single track ever written by Andreas Woldetoft is personally, or not personally, but it's owned by Paradox, and Paradox does not upload it to the Content ID system. So.
And I would say number 3 though is that when I play games, I play them a lot. Like I play the games over and over again. I enjoy games that I can get very in depth into. Is that I will get fed up with repetitive music. So if it's like 2 tracks per per country or something, and we're playing like a 500-hour campaign or something, that's going to drive me nuts.
I'm okay. You can do this, I think. Here, one sec. I'm just going to pause. Top right corner.
Okay.
Right where it says the date, and then below that it shows our score and our great power rank. See, slightly to the left, there should be a little button that says Open Music Control Panel.
I'm already a little bit apprehensive, but I see it.
Okay, click on that. It'll bring a 3-button drop-down open.
Mm-hmm.
Click the Open Music Player button.
Mm-hmm.
And then look at the list of music. That's not 2 tracks. That's a ton of that's hours of music.
Is it hours? It feels like about 2 hours.
Is 2 more than 1, therefore plural?
Okay, I guess technically you're right. It's 2 hours. How many hours do you think you're going to play this campaign?
Technically right, or
go on. How many hours do you think we're going to play this campaign?
I'm saying you could play the campaign for 100 hours. You'd hear each song like what?
50 times. If it was 2 hours and you played for 100 hours, you'd hear each song 50 times.
That doesn't matter. By the time just.
And what if we played for 500 hours?
I'm not arguing with you anymore.
Yeah,
I'm done.
That's right. You lost.
No, I did not lose. I've been playing this game for, I don't even want to know how many hours it is. I've got 2,300 hours logged in EU4, and that's not counting the time.
What I will consider trying it in my solo campaign briefly. And if it drives me nuts, I will curse you out and then close it and then never open it again. I will forget about that button, much as I've forgotten about many of the buttons you've showed me in this game.
Great. Cue Filthy asking a question about something that I've told him
Oh yeah, so let's start on the questions. That reminds me. So
okay.
I wanted to ask a couple simple ones. We'll get the blood flowing with some simple ones. Forts.
Okay.
Yeah, not zone of control related, not anything about them, but I wanted to know about the positive combat bonus you get from fighting in a territory with the fort. And I think right now it says fort defense 3. I'm mousing over the fort in marches, and it says fort defense 3.7, and it says it's from power projection. Is this a positive modifier that applies to our troops when we're fighting in our forts? Is this correct?
No.
Nope,
it has nothing to do with combat at all. So we're looking at marches, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the 3.7 fort defense, that increases the siege tick timer.
Okay.
So remember, siege ticks take 30 days by default. In this case, every 3.33%, or 1/30th, or whatever, is going to increase the number of days it takes per tick by 1.
Okay.
So instead of an enemy sieging this fort, getting a tick every 30 days, they'll get one every 31 days.
That's kind of annoying, because I was looking at the defensive ideas, and I was actually kind of excited about that one. There's one that gives you fort defense plus 20%. And I thought that's a pretty cool idea. If you build some forts, you could have stronger armies around it, but it's not. It's just slower for them to siege down your fort.
Well, there's a couple ways to look at that, though. 20% longer sieges means that their siege, instead of taking a year, is going to take 15, 16 months, which is an extra 3 or 4 months of attrition ticking, which is expensive.
Sure.
And it also gives you more time for your armies to recover, for you to train troops, for you to move in around.
I'm sure. I'm not saying it's worthless. I just misunderstood what it was doing. So that's good. Mm-hmm. I'm glad it's cleared up. Why did we keep all of our forts?
The primary reason is that, number one, we have tons of money, and number two, they are giving us a small amount of fully maintained. Go to your military tab.
Mm-hmm.
Hover over Army Tradition.
Okay.
Army Tradition changed by negative 1.19 yearly due to fully maintained forts plus 0.58. And then the decay rate. So we have a base decay rate of 5% per year. So if you took our Army Tradition of 35.5 and just multiplied that by 0.05, you'd get a decay rate of 1.77.
Okay.
But because we have fully maintained forts, we get plus 0.58. So our actual Army Tradition decay is only 1.19.
Although we only seem to keep our forts on when we're at war.
Well, they're on right now.
Yeah. But we just finished war. I mean, we have exiled armies still or something, right? Or something close
right.
to that.
we do have some debt, so we do want to pay them off. But keeping your forts on is a way that you can maintain decent army tradition, which gives you better generals, which gives you better morale of armies, etc., etc. But in order to actually have the maximum amount from forts, I believe the ratio is 1 fort per 50 development, I think. I think. Let me check. We have 603 development right now, and we have 7 forts. So
where did you find the 603?
It's under the economy tab.
Okay.
At the bottom.
Got it.
So we have 350. We have enough to cover 350 development, which is out of 600, 0.583. Is that what we're getting?
Maybe.
Yes, we're getting 0.58. So yes, it's 1 fort per 50 development.
Oh, okay.
And we don't have enough. In order to actually get the full bonus, which is 1.0 army tradition from forts, is the most you can possibly get. We would have to have, what would that be? It would be 30 forts. No, that's not right at all.
No, it doesn't.
What's 600 divided by 50?
So 60 divided by 5 is 12.
12 forts.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 7.
Okay. So we gotta get on this fort construction.
Yeah, I mean, we could, or we could just ignore it.
Okay.
What most players do is they ignore it, because the issue with fort maintenance is that, number one, the AI is still cheating, and they just ignore zone of control. And number two, the money you spend on forts could oftentimes be spent on mercenaries or on other troops, on heavy ships, on buildings that actually generate money instead of costing you money.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually largely considered to be not worthwhile.
Yeah.
But it's still fun. I like forts, personally. I want to like them. I like them better.
I like them.
In this beta patch when they were working.
I like them amazingly. I think they're friggin' amazing. Like, that's the only way that I have found to deal with larger armies is by splitting them up, hiding behind your forts, and then engaging with the fort zone of control, engaging with the fort to give you defender bonuses on better terrain. I want to build forts on every single mountain tile I have in my empire right now. I'm not going to, but that's like the dream. So
the dream.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna get some maps and we're gonna build some forts. It's pretty much my game strategy right now. Oh, by the way, this is our second take of this recording. We had some technical issues, but Arumba, you were mentioning that you had a confirmation about the infantry bug that we were having.
Oh yeah. So at the very end of the last session, we were both getting really frustrated because we were seeing like some weird stuff going on with the actual.
Did you just buy Defender of the Faith?
No, I just paid off a loan.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I can only talk about one thing at a time, man.
Oh.
I can tell you the things I'm doing, or I can talk about.
Go ahead and talk about the bug. You wanted to include that. I was just reminded you.
Yeah. So, I talked to DDR Jake, the EU4 project lead, and it's already fixed internally, but something squirrely happened in the current version of the game, and it is an actual confirmed bug. So our general rule of thumb for this campaign is just going to be only ever deploy armies that are full combat width if we expect the enemy is going to reinforce. Because if you deploy an army that is larger than the enemy, they will kind of like envelop that enemy, surround them to the right size, and then if that army gets reinforced, your other troops just are missing.
Okay.
They're just gone. So.
Shit, I had a question. Yeah, I just forgot what it was, though, as I was asking you.
Where's your list?
Oh, it wasn't one of my questions. It was a question raised by one of your... the question raised by one of your comments was about the patches. Will patches break our playthrough if we update to the most recent patch? Good. That's what I wanted to hear.
Almost never. The only situation where you usually have to worry about compatibility, and it's usually a pretty easy thing. You just duplicate your save, try loading it, and if it doesn't work, then you can roll back. You can actually go play like version 1.4.
Yeah.
We're on version 1.19. So if you want to play an older version, you just opt into it on the betas tab in your Steam.
Okay.
And you can always continue your campaign. But usually the only type of patches that will break saves are going to be ones that add new content, which are the major patches, which are usually odd numbers. So patch 1.20 is going to be a fixes / quality of life type patch. Then 1.21 is going to be like the next major release.
What happened in 1.19? What was the big stuff that came out?
This one was
Forts that don't actually work? Rights of Man. Oh, okay.
Rights of Man, and I've already forgotten what I think Rights of Man may have been the one that just added institutions. I don't remember. It was recent.
Ooh. Oh, like Renaissance wasn't always in there like that?
No, in fact, it's a major change from the previous tech system.
Yeah. And
it's much better, by the way.
Okay, cool. I love the support this game gets. I love that it's still being actively patched regularly. I actually really like that about Paradox titles in general, that tends to happen. So.
Yeah, me too. It's allowed me to play this game for a couple years.
Yep.
3 years now, 3.5 almost.
Yep.
So, what are we doing? I mean, we're talking.
I'm watching little ships move around. Like one of them goes dick to the left, and then another one goes dip to the left to the right. And I bet that guy has maps I don't have, and I think about warring him. So what are we doing?
Okay.
We were.
I'm just quickly looking at truce timers. Okay. So 52 and is looking like the big truce coming up with a lot of nations. So we got 5 years.
Okay.
I'm going to right-click on any nation that we know we have aggressive expansion with. Check our aggressive expansion value. It's at 109 with Cologne.
Okay, so show me what you did with that. So anyone we know we have aggressive expansion with, that's going to be, I mean, that's anyone. Okay, everyone. I see Cologne. And you see that where?
Hover over their opinion of us.
Yes. Colonial opinion of Great Britain is modified by aggressive expansion minus 109. Okay.
Okay, so what I'm mentally doing right now is taking 109. We're recovering it 3 per year. It's going to be 5 years until the truce is up, so I know I'm going to get 3 times 5 is 15 opinion back. Yep. Is that number less than 50 after the recovery?
No.
The answer is no. So we know that in 5 years, Cologne will join a coalition against us again.
Okay, so 50 was the cutoff. Okay, I was doing that in one of my campaigns. Yes. I couldn't remember the fucking cutoff. I'm like, oh, I can see the actual amount of aggressive expansion, but I don't know what the hell that means.
So what we're going to want to do then is in these next 5 years is start to try to improve relations with everyone that we can to try to make them stop being jerks toward us.
You could just build forts instead.
I mean, it's probably going to happen anyway, but so now we're going to use the opinion map mode, which for us is shortcut key T.
Okay.
This is going to color the map based on their opinion.
Bright.
So Spain is dark, like bright red, like they're pissed. They hate us. Austria hates us. Poland hates us. These are generally nations that have you rivaled.
Okay.
And what we want to do is we want to try to improve relations with people we know are going to join the coalition, but are currently kind of close to yellowish.
Okay.
Because that means they're close to 0. And there's one specific reason for that.
Close to yellow? Cologne is yellow, and I thought they were minus 109.
That's their aggressive expansion, but their actual opinion of us is at negative 41.
Yeah, okay.
And actually, it looks like we've already improved relations with them by 96, so that's probably why it's there. But here's the reason why we want to do it. The closer a nation's opinion is of you towards 0, the closer it is to neutral, the more effective you are at improving relations. Okay. So trying to improve relations with someone who absolutely hates your guts is going to take a long time and be very ineffective, and it's kind of a waste of a diplomat. But there are going to be a number of smaller nations that are kind of like halfway in between, where they're like, we hate you for your aggressive expansion, but it's okay, kind of. If we improve relations with them, and we can get their opinion of us to be above 50, actual opinion, not aggressive expansion, but if their actual opinion of us is positive and above 50, then they should not join the coalition. Even if they have aggressive expansion above 50. So, for example, I'm just going to pick a few nations that are the right colors-ish, and we'll go from there.
Okay. So you're doing like the kind of lighter orange color?
Yeah.
Okay.
We've already improved relations with Liège, Trier. Savoy is only at 35 aggressive expansion. The Palatinate. We need another diplomat. Yeah, the Palatinate looks like a target we might be able to do. They're at negative 145 opinion, but might work out. We'll see. But we should just top off relations with as many people in the HRE as we can. Beyond that, pay off our loans, build some ships, build buildings, shipyards.
I want to talk about heirs.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
I want to know how to make my ruler impregnate some people so it can have heirs, because my ruler is particularly not good at that right now. So I fired my heir because he was terrible, and it was a suggestion that I saw it and I didn't even realize I could do it, so I checked it out, fired my heir. He was terrible. And then I could not get my ruler to have another heir. He just wouldn't do it.
Heirs you're more likely to have an heir if you have royal marriages. Every royal marriage increases your chance of spawning an heir. It's a mean time to happen. It's just a chance. You can actually have more than one heir at a time, but you won't know it until your current heir dies. Sometimes you'll lose an heir and then you'll instantly have another one because there's actually another one already there.
Oh, and I just don't know that it's behind him?
Nope.
Will it show up if I fire the current one and I fire him? Will the next heir show up in the menu? Okay.
Yes, if one exists. Yeah. So basically, if you want heirs, have lots of royal marriages.
I could not get more people to royal marry me. I could only get the one. So I kept looking at it. I was sitting at -3 reasons for them to marry me for hours. And I was looking at the stuff that settled it, and it was some of it was aggressive expansion. It was opinion based, and there were a number of things that contribute to the opinion. But is there something besides their opinion of me that defines royal marriage likelihood? Anything else that pumps that up or knocks that down?
Yes.
What?
Every 1.0 diplomatic reputation will raise their reasons for royal marriage by 5.
Okay. But if that's diplomatic reputation isn't something I know how to gather. I see it comes up a lot in pop-up events or decisions, but I don't seem to have any way of just like raising that directly. It's not like a development score that I can do, right? Or is it?
Nope.
Okay.
You can get 1 diplomatic reputation from a diplomatic advisor. You can get diplomatic reputation by having 0% overextension. Every percent of overextension reduces your diplomatic reputation.
Okay.
You can get diplomatic reputation by having high legitimacy.
Okay.
There are random events, there are policies, there are decisions, there are idea groups that give diplomatic reputation. For example, if you go look at one of the diplomatic idea groups called diplomatic ideas or influence ideas, those both give raw diplomatic reputation.
Okay.
So that makes it a lot easier for you to actually get royal marriages.
Okay.
That kind of stuff.
Cool. Do we want to take this tech, by the way?
I think so, yeah. I think this is going to be a good one. We are not ahead of time, but we can become ahead of time. We get more states. We get a new government type we can talk about in the next episode. And we're going to get 20% increased production efficiency for being ahead of time.
Just looking at.
Nice.
All right.
Very good. So for the next 10 years, we have 20% more production efficiency, more money,
Is that
more problems.
Is that that stuff that you get from adopting techs early like this? Is that until like what defines how long that bonus is for? Is it always just 10 years or is it something else?
It's just based on the number of years. The game has like fixed dates you're expected to be at each tech level. So
Got it.
we're currently 10 years ahead of time. In like 2 weeks, it'll be January, so it'll go down from 10 to 9. And then 9 Januaries from then will be considered not ahead anymore.
Got it. All right. Well, next episode?
Yeah. All right. Sounds good. We actually got through. The game didn't crash this time. That's great.
Yeah.
Excited.
Me too. See you soon.
See you in a bit.